We met when I was working in retail. I was a cashier. He was the type of customer that would hold the line for no good reason. He would just hold the line so that he could trigger a response, he could trigger a reaction. I don't know. He got off on that. So he would do that for one reason or another. It's either his bank app is slow, or you're probably done scanning his items and you're ready for him to pay and he's on a call. And you're just there looking at him because there are people waiting in line. You're just looking at him like, could you just make the payment fast, and then you'll resume with the call. You'll just look at him and he will give you a blank stare and continue to speak on the phone until you have to like vocalize it and tell him, excuse me sir, could you please complete the transaction, and then you will continue with your call, because I would really love to attend to the other customers. And he would give you a look or a blank stare and he will literally say nothing and he will continue with his phone call. That is the type of person he was. And then when he's done with the conversation, when he's done with the call or whatever, he's not going to apologize to the next customer or to you. He's just going to make his payment, take his items and leave. He's not going to say thank you, or he's not going to nothing. That is the type of person he is. Ugly, I wouldn't describe him as ugly. He used to smell so good. I remember his cologne to this day. He used to smell amazing. He had such a big ego, a very, very big ego. Naturally, that's just how he was. He was a bit plump, not fat per se, but he was not exactly slim. You wouldn't describe him as slim. So when he expressed his interest in me, I was just like, okay, I don't have anything to lose. And at that time, I didn't used to think much about this type of stuff. I didn't used to have enough critical thinking. Let me just admit that. I never used to think too much about this. So he asked me out. I just gave him my number, but we did not talk for a while. After I gave him my number, I didn't used to respond to him that much. I used to just ignore him for a while, until one day I was just at home and I was like, I'm bored and I have nothing to lose. Let me just go out and eat. So I responded to his text and I was like, yeah, I'm free today. And he took me out. Let me tell you guys, that is our first date. That's the first date. That's the first time we're going out together. And he lashed out at the waiter. He lashed out at the waiter, and you're not going to believe the reason. He lashed out at the waiter because the waiter did not warn him that his soup was too hot. So, for some weird reason that I do not understand, he decided to dip his finger in his soup. And then he just let out this scream. He let out this scream, and I was like, what just happened? What just happened? So he lashed out at the waiter and he started shouting and started, like, he was very condescending. Like, he was, gosh, it was one of the most uncomfortable moments of my whole entire life. I just sat there and looked. And then I regret not saying anything. I regret not standing up for the waiter. But when the waiter left, I was like, I feel like you overreacted. You should not have reacted like that. So he was like, it is her job. It was her job to tell me, to warn me that your soup is too hot or something. He said something of the sort. It's fine. Even if you feel like, even if that's what you feel like, even if you genuinely believe that it was her job to warn you that that soup is hot. As in, you are grown and it is it is steaming. Obviously it is hot, but I let that pass. One time he invited me for a road trip. So we were on our way to Gilgil. And then we went to a petrol station. And this guy was attending to one guy that had a motorbike. I'm telling you, this guy started shouting and screaming at the guy, and he was like, the motorbike, as in, how can you keep me waiting because of a motorbike rider? Those were his exact words. How can you keep me waiting because of a guy that has a motorbike? Why don't you attend to me first? He can wait. Attend to me first. And then when everyone was looking at him like, you did not just say that, he corrected himself by saying, what I meant is he's not going to get inconvenienced by traffic because he has a motorbike. But I am very sure, and everyone else knew, that is not what he meant. I stared at him and I was like, oh my God. This guy, he tells me, like, you see these normal casual stories that you talk about. He tells me that his friend confided in him that he has some issues, sexual issues. His friend told him that he usually has like premature ejaculation. So he was telling me with a very, as in he was giggling throughout, like when he was talking to me about it, he was giggling throughout. Like it's like he was finding it funny for some weird twisted reason. He was finding it funny. So I didn't know what to say. I didn't, as in I was just like, okay. So he's like, he does not even satisfy his wife. As in, even when I just see his wife walking around, I just look at her like, I'm so sure that you've never had one orgasm in your life. He says that about his friend actually. And his friend was, as in, he was his friend, but he was his boss as well. He used to work in non-profit organization. Actually, he's an American citizen. He even has a very thick American accent. He's an American citizen. He's a black American citizen. Yeah, he's not a white guy. He's black, but he was an American citizen. He was actually in Kenya for a while. He told me he was in Kenya for like 4 years, if I can remember, like around 4 years. He was supposed to be in Kenya for like 4 years because he was working with a non-profit organization. So after he told me that, he said, Ati, now I know what I can do to kick him on the knee, something of the sort. He said something along those lines. So by this he meant he has some sort of power over this guy now because he let him in on the secret. Apparently they had gone for drinks and the guy happened to confide in him in the moment of weakness when he was a bit drunk. Do you know that a few weeks later, after he had told me that, one day he was in the bathroom and then his phone was just buzzing. It was just buzzing next to me. It was just buzzing. So I took his phone and then I saw a pop-up that I was like, what? When I saw you know how when you have a WhatsApp message, you can see a pop-up and then you can see a picture of that person. I knew the wife of his friend because she was also with us at the barbecue party that I had spoken about. So I knew how she looked. So I saw her. That small picture. I saw it and I saw it was her. Gosh. Now I was curious. I knew the password to his phone, so I opened his phone. I was disgusted. I was shocked. I was appalled. All these emotions, like I cannot describe it. So this guy reached out to the lady and he was like, I know what you have been going through. It's not easy. As in, sex is a gift from God and it should be enjoyed. I am so sorry that you're not able to enjoy this gift from God. That's what he told the lady. And that is how the conversation started. Like he started hitting on her. They had spoken for a few weeks actually. They had spoken for a while. So it's like from the timelines, it's like he had reached out to her almost immediately after he was given the information by that guy. So he was like, he reached out to her and started speaking all these things. I was in disbelief. Like he came back from the bathroom and I looked at him like, what kind of an animal is this? Like, he's an animal. He is an actual animal. Let us circle back to when he told me that if I ever get fat, if I ever allow myself to get that fat, he's going to cheat on me and there's nothing I'll do about it. Mind you, this guy is not slim. This guy is not someone that you'd say is slim. He's a bit plump. He had a bit of a pot belly. He had a bit of a double chin. Like, he is not someone that you'd describe as slim. And he had the effrontery. He had the audacity. He had the guts. He had the balls to open his mouth, to fix his mouth and tell me that if I ever get fat, he's going to cheat on me and there's nothing I'll do about it. So after I had seen the messages and all, I asked him about it and he was like, no, as in, you misunderstood the whole thing. I was just trying to console her. I was like, you're the one that brought it up. First of all, it's embarrassing. You're embarrassing both of them. As in, why would you do that? Your friend confided in you about something and you open your mouth and take it back to his wife. Like, what kind of a person are you? What type of a friend are you? He managed to talk me down. He managed to make me think that maybe I was overreacting. I don't know. Like, I don't know. He just managed to. Because this guy, let me tell you, if he decides to be sweet and kind and nice, he's going to smother you with all the love and all the good things that you want to hear, all the good, nice things that you want. So he was able to, you know, finesse me into forgetting that bit. I'm embarrassed to admit, but yeah. Okay. This one time, one of his friends, actually they had a clique. They had a friend group of some sort. One of his friends lost his job. One of his friends was working somewhere lucrative. He had a very lucrative job, but things happened and he happened to just lose his job. And that his friend also, his girlfriend had lost their baby, like not long after he lost his job. So things were not so good for him. Like things, and I used to know all these things because they used to just discuss things openly. They didn't used to like, and this guy had a big mouth. He used to tell me things that I would ask myself, like, do you ever keep your friends' secrets? Like, do you ever, as in, he used to let me in on every single thing. Even sometimes he'd call me when I'm at work and he'd be like, there's something urgent I need to tell you. Do you know what urgent thing he'll need to tell me? It's just some sort of gossip. He'll get me out of the counter, out of the cash counter, out of the till, to go and give me some tea about his friend. Yeah, so that's the kind of man I was dealing with at the time. And if I tell you that this relationship did not last for 4 months, I think the longest, I guess it's 3 months, if it's so long. It did not last so long. It did not last too long. So when his friend lost his job and all, his friend group, they were like discussing on ways to help his friend and ways to be of support to his friend. And then after they had discussed that, he on our way back in the car now, he was telling me, like, these people think that my money is for wastage or something of the sort. These people think that I can waste my money on a fellow man. Why would I waste money on someone who's not going to give? That's what he said. I told him, please stop the car. I am begging you, please stop the car. He stopped the car and I walked and we were in a place where I was not very conversant with the place. Like, the place where we were mind you, it's at night, but my whole body was shaking. I was livid. I was angry. I was like, no, as in, this man did not just say that. He did not just open his mouth to say something like that. I used to have more compassion for his friends and people in his life more than he actually did. So, yeah, I just walked. I walked. Unfortunately, that was not the last straw. I'm so sad to say that was not the last straw. I ghosted him for like two weeks, I guess. I ghosted him for like 2 weeks. And then he finessed his way back into my life again. He was so good at that. So he finessed his way back into my life again. And I allowed him to. So he was taking me out on a date. I remember we were going to Karen. So along Gong Road, you see, in Gong Road, there's this place that they usually make some African articrafts, beads. I will find a picture and insert. There's a place, if you are conversant with Gong Road, on your way around Lenana, there's a place just along the road that they make those things. This guy had bought a mango. So he was licking his mango. He was licking his mango. He finished licking the mango. He finished eating his mango. He drew down his window and he threw the mango seed outside the window. And it hit one guy who was working on something like those guys that usually make things along Gong Road. He hit that guy. And the guy was like, why did you do that? Imagine being hit by a ripe mango. It would obviously stain your clothes. Like, it's just rude and disrespectful. I drew down my window and I told the guy, I'm very, very sorry. Please, I'm sorry. Do you know this guy insulted him? He insulted him and he was like, Ati, am I the one who has told you to be working on the streets? He said that. He told that guy, am I the one that told you to be working on the streets? I was in disbelief. I was like, oh my God, what have I done to myself? Why am I dealing with this kind of person? Why am I even doing here with this man? So after the mango incident, he noticed that I had lost interest completely in him. I was ignoring him. I was not picking up his calls. I was not calling him back. I was not texting him back. Nothing. Like I was just done with him in my head, and he noticed that. So now, he now started to torture me. He started to torment me. Remember, I've mentioned that I was working in retail at that time. So he used to come to my workstation and he would pick my counter specifically to come and do his bullshit. Like, you remember, when we were still dating, he used to ask me, so what are your pet peeves? What are the things that piss you off? What are the things that you don't like when a customer does something? So I used to like tell him the things. And now, so all these things that I had told him, all these things that I had shared with him were now being used against me. Because I used to tell him how it triggers me, how I feel triggered when a customer comes and shoves his things on the counter, or throws money at me, or throws their cards at me. All those things, now those are the exact same things that he used to do. And he knew very well how triggered I'd be by them. And he knew that there's nothing I can do because I'm at work. I have to keep it professional. This man, on several occasions, he wrote negative customer feedback against me. Mind you, he knows my exact name, like my full names, he knew. So he wrote in the suggestion box some nonsense about me, that he did not like my customer service. I was rude to him. I was this, I was that. He even wrote on Twitter, and mind you, the place I used to work, they used to take customer feedback very serious. They used to take it very, very serious. So he wrote those things, and he even reached out directly to the general manager about me. Yeah, that is how evil he was. So I say all this to say, okay, right now, I thank God because he went back to his country. He tried to like spam me. He tried to like reach out to me on Instagram via a completely different number. He tried to reach out to me via Instagram with a completely different username. I'm sorry, different username. And I saw that he's not in Kenya anymore. He already left. So, in conclusion, I say all this to say, if your partner is unkind to other people, eventually you are going to be on the receiving end of their brutality and their unkindness and their bad behavior. Don't think that you're special. Don't think that you're an exception. That is what I used to think. But no, you're not an exception. You're not special. Eventually, they're going to unleash that side of them to you. They're going to unleash that side of them to you. So I say all this to say, date kind people, marry kind people. kind in the way they treat their friends, kind in the way they treat their family, kind in the way they treat people that they don't know, kind in the way they treat service providers, kind in the way they treat people that are deemed less fortunate in the society, kind in the way they treat people that cannot help them. I put that in quotes because you cannot decide that this person cannot help me. Anyway, thank you so much for watching my video to this point. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you have not already. I'll see you on my next one. Goodbye. Most importantly, be kind yourself. See you.